meeting, so I'm not gonna stand up for here for too long. This way. I apologize, candidates. Pay attention to where I'm standing now, not where I was. We have Kimberly Snipes running for Richland County Council District 1. We have Allison Terratio running for Richland County Council District 5. And then shortly, we should also have Lawrence Moore, who is running for House District 52. So we are going to give the candidates, we're going to start with 10 minutes for each of them to speak. You guys can just tell us what you're running for, what the point of your position is, and like, for example, if you guys could elaborate on what Richland County Council does, that would be excellent. And then tell us how we can help you out. So if you guys need volunteers or anything like that, that as well, and then we can go into some questions. So Kimberly, I'm gonna let you start. Thank you so much for coming. I know, I don't like to do that.
Hello. Thank y'all for having me. I really appreciate it. I'm Kimberly Snipes. As Sophia said, I'm running for Richland County Council District 1. If you don't know where that is, it's a really small unincorporated area in the Irmo Chapin Ballantyne part of our county. I am currently serving on the school board for Lexridge 5, which is the first office that I've ever held, and have found that I am just really all about the community involvement. Maybe I've taken a little bit of the political bug and want to look at other ways in which I can serve my community. I'm really excited about it. This campaign doesn't come without its challenges, just based on by virtue of where I live, and by that I just mean that we haven't had a Democrat or a woman, and so that is a hill in and of itself. So it's been a busy couple of months. I was canvassing before I got here. I got here and realized I forgot to change my shoes, so sorry about the flip-flops. But it's real. This is important to me. I'm raising my family in Columbia. We have lived here. I moved here in 2006 after college, and I've got married. We have 4 children, and so this is home. And because it's home, I'm invested in it. It's important to me, and that's why I want to serve. I'll let Allison talk more about what Richland County does, since she's already like in that role, and just kind of give you all more of an opportunity just to kind of know who I am and ask me questions when we get to that part. A lot of the reason why I'm running is because I want to help build a county where people can afford to live and grow, where we can find opportunity and stability, and you have a government where you actually feel seen and valued. And the seen and valued part means more right now than it did, even 2 months ago when I was thinking about why are the reasons I'm doing this with everything that's going on politically in our climate. And I'm pretty sure we're all, as Democrats, are really feeling that right now. So some of the key priorities for my campaign: accountable and transparent government. I think that trust really matters. I think we're losing, as I talk to people and as I knock doors, I've even had some people tell me, well, I wasn't even planning on voting. I don't think it matters anymore. Everybody's just doing what they want to do. And so, and that's not what we need, because typically if it's a door I'm knocking on, it's another Democrat that's saying that. And it's so important that we show up now more than ever. And so it just reiterates sort of the importance of trust with our constituents and trust in our community. I'm running because I think smart growth and opportunity is really important. I know where I live, that's like the hot button issues on the community Facebook pages and that sort of thing is another housing development or another apartment complex. And it's a good thing that the city is growing, because that means people want to come here. That means there are more opportunities. But I do think it's important that we're smart about it and that we have a plan for action. And then the quality of life. At the end of the day, local government should help create a place where people actually want to live and not just pass through. Y'all are young Dems, young adjacent, and so I want to be able to stay here and raise a family here, and we want good people to stay here and not feel like they have to leave school or whatever and go off some other places to get opportunities when there's an opportunity for us to grow and thrive right here in our back door. So, how can you all help? I talked about how I was canvassing before I came. That's literally my life. And so I do work full time, and I get off work and change out of my heels and I go knock on doors. And sometimes my husband comes, sometimes I make the kids come. That's real fun, as you can imagine. And so, so there's always a need there as we approach early voting and the primary and prayerfully the general election. I can always use help on election day in that capacity. But in the simplest of terms, I just need the support. If you live in my district, if you know people that do, follow me on social media, share my pages, tell your friends, because at the end of the day, that's how I get elevated, right? And so people have to know that I'm out here. They have to know that I'm committed, and they have to know that I'm willing to do the work. And so that happens with word of mouth and groups like you all. And so that is me. I'm happy to take questions. Well, all right, right out the gate.
How old are your kids?
How old?
Yes.
They are, Sarah is 3, Isaiah, they're little. Isaiah is 6, Isabella is 10, and Noah is 12.
I have a 2-year-old, and I'm wondering how in the world you were able to
To do
it.
And I'm very honest with people that it is not easy. It's just I knew I wanted to have a big family, so we had a big family, and then every day I say, what was I thinking? And then we wake up the next day and we do it all over again. And so that's just sort of the life. And so even with this, it's just a family affair. We all have to do it together. I asked my husband, what he thought before, I filed. I mean, I was gonna file anyway, but I did ask him what he thought. And he also knew I was gonna do it anyway. And so, but I've always been ambitious and in the community and that sort of thing. So I feel like it shouldn't surprise him that this is where we are. And I just have had to figure out how to make the kids a part of it. And on Saturdays, they have to canvass too. And sometimes it's stressful because they ring the doorbell too much, or they fight over whose turn it is. But it's the only way I can get it done. So.
Yes, so I actually had 2 questions. One
Okay.
just came from the chat, so I'll do that one first.
Okay.
It was, can you remind the chat, anyone viewing at home, where your district is located?
Yes, it is Irmo, Chapin, and Ballantyne. So that covers a lot of communities, the Dutch Fork area, parts of Friars Gate, Salem Church Road. If you're familiar with the area, all the neighborhoods behind the Chick-fil-A, and then and if you're in Chapin, but also Richland County, you're in my district.
Perfect. Then I had a personal question.
Absolutely.
I know you said you worked at Richland X5. What were some of the things you saw there on the school board that made you decide to run for county council, and what were some of your accomplishments?
Sure. Okay, so on the school board, there are a lot of development pieces, which is what made me think about the growth when I think about county council, and there is sort of like a disconnect. Like, we are getting a new elementary school. Well, we hear from parents, why is it taking so long? Why haven't you done this? We've approved it. Well, but there are permits and other pieces of this, so it's not just this one piece of it. And so I do think I'll do well because I have a different side, a different experience in the building process, and so I think that would be helpful. In terms of accomplishments, I mean, we passed a $240 million bond referendum that's going to build that school, that's going to give a lot of repairs and equality, because part of why we needed it is because we had some schools that maybe had better facilities or had more recent upgrades than others, and a lot of parents complain about that quite often, that they felt like the district was only focused on certain areas. And so now with the referendum, we're able to give everybody a little bit of what they need. It won't fix everything because that's just impossible and things are so much more expensive, but we're on track, which I think is important. And then my biggest accomplishment, I would say, so school board is a 4-year term. And for the last 2 years, I have been chair. And that's a big deal in that district because they had never had a woman of color on the board. And then I also became the chair. And so I am quite proud of that. So I'm being reminded of something. Oh, I thought that was mine. It is. Sorry.
Thank you so much.
Yes.
Thank you, that was incredible.
Yeah, no, absolutely. Is that anybody else?
Anything else, Ellie?
No, thank you so much.
All right. Thank y'all so much for having me.
Okay, Allison, would you like to come up and chat with us now? Thank you, Kimberly.
Okay, give me some direction about where I'm in frame.
Go slightly more to your left. Beautiful. Actually, I should do this so you can have
Oh.
it might be a little bit easier.
That's really lovely. Okay. Thanks, everybody. Good to see you all. I'm Allison Teratio. I serve on Richland County Council for District 5. District 5 does serve this area, so it includes the SCDP office. And we go up to, right? The district goes up to St. Andrews, so it goes up to St. Andrews Road, and then it comes down the river, if you will, through the Vista, through the university, through some of the Mill District, and then over through kind of down Rosewood, if you will, to South Beltline. So that includes the neighborhoods of Rosewood and Shandon and University Hill and just lots of those downtown areas that we like to hang out in. So it's been a great pleasure to serve for 2 cycles on Richland County Council. When I first got on council, I was knocking a lot of doors, and I would go to these doors and I would hear a lot of complaints about some of the things that were in the paper around Richland County. So people were very aware of the council had just fired the administrator, for instance, and there was a big payout associated with that. There was some kerfluffle about the penny tax that was being implemented. And then there were some other smaller things that were going on, but there were just big kind of things that didn't look good on Richland County. And so when I ran on good government, and I ran on doing things that we know that we do well. These include things like the library and things like the Comet. And so when I earned my seat on county council, one of the first things that I started to do was to get involved in the things that I cared about. So I served as liaison to the library. I have been serving on the Comet board since 2020, and I currently serve as the chair of the Comet board. And I have served on the Affordable Housing Ad Hoc Committee. I served two cycles as chair, and now someone else is serving as chair. So I think it's really important that we think holistically about these kind of policies. So you can't, for instance, think about transit without thinking about where people live. And you can't think about how to create density and how to create housing without thinking about how people get there. In the past, one of the ways that we thought about how we built out the county was that, okay, well, let's take some big empty land and then we're gonna build a bunch of neighborhoods, and that neighborhood, the only ingress to that neighborhood is this one road off of the main road. And then everybody has to circle around and then spend 20 minutes getting out of the neighborhood and then drive another 10 minutes on a big road to go to a big box store. That's not necessarily how people want to live anymore. People want to walk, they want to bike, they want to be pretty close to their amenities, they want to be pretty close to a park, they want to be close to their restaurants and their grocery stores and things like that. And so that is something that I've worked really hard on council. And that encompasses everything from zoning to our land development code, to our comprehensive plan, which we're about to start to implement or to really flesh out. I'm proud to say that the Broad River Road is part of the district that I serve, or part of that road is in the district that I serve. And so it's been identified as an area for improvement. So right there, we're looking at an area that has 3 times the amount of commercial land or commercially zoned land than it really needs compared to like how many people live out there. So what we can do is we can start to take some of that back and rezone for housing. Build more housing, make it more affordable, have more density, have more transit. So all of these things fit together, and that's how I like to think about government. I didn't say much about myself, so I'll kind of back up and just say, when I moved here in 2016, and I moved here without really knowing anybody, except my husband, my mother-in-law, my son, and maybe one other person that I'd met through like a yoga thing a while ago. I was moving from New York City, and it was the week that Hillary lost to Trump. And so I left my job, I left my apartment, I left my city, and I didn't really know what to do. And so I've been always really appreciative of the party, because one of the first things that I did in January of 2017 was start to wake up and say, how do I get involved? And so I literally just like drove myself down to the party headquarters. They were on Lady Street then, not nearly as nice as they are now. And I just said, how can I volunteer? And so I want to pass that on to you. So I love to canvass. In fact, my first political job was canvassing for the conservation voters of South Carolina. In the summer of 2017, I knocked 2,000 doors from June to August, I think, in the South Carolina heat. On 17 from Myrtle Beach down to Charleston. I was knocking doors and saying, hi, I'm Allison. How do you feel about solar energy? I got a lot of really positive responses, and I got a lot of really interesting responses. And so that really engendered in me a love for getting out and meeting people and learning about people and getting a feel for the land where we are. And so I would love to have you all come and canvass with me, come and knock doors with me. I've got the next 4 Saturdays are up on my website, AllisonTerratio.com. We'll canvass from 10 to noon. We'll start out at the Publix on Rosewood. So we'll gather. I've got t-shirts. I've got lit for you. We'll do a little training, and then we'll just set everybody off on their way with, of course, support for anybody who's newer to to canvassing. So, yeah, and then just personally, I live in Shandon. I have worked as an organizer, so I worked as an organizer for Planned Parenthood, so some of you all know me through that. Young Dems let me lurk in their chat in case I need to pop up and ask for a rapid response for something. And most recently, I was the executive director for Emerge, so in this room quite a bit, training Democratic women to run for office. I still maintain that passion for organizing and that passion for training folks. And so right now I'm mostly focused on running this race and winning this primary, and then we'll see what's next after that. That's a little personal, little professional, a lot about council. We're in budget season now, so I've got a lot of council on the brain. What council does, what most people will think about for Richland County, their interaction with Richland County is paying their property taxes. So you're paying your home tax, you're paying your vehicle tax. Some people may have a boat. Some people even have an airplane that they may have to pay taxes on. If you have an airplane, let me know, and we'll make friends. So, and when you see your property tax bill, whether it's for your car or your home or whatever it is, you'll see that it's line item by line item for some things, and that'll be your school, the zoo, the library, and other millage agencies that I'm not remembering off the top of my head right now, but you'll see how some of that is parceled out. And then, of course, the remainder goes to what I think of as the core promises that government makes to us, that the law enforcement will show up if they're called, that the fire service will show up if they're called, that EMS will show up if they're called, that there is infrastructure for you to interact with your local government in a way that is dignified and decent and gets the job done for you. So, is now a good time for questions? I'll do a little time check. Yeah, okay.
How many doors have we knocked so far?
Probably about 3,000.
Ooh, very cool.
Yeah. 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 And you got a door knock from me.
Yes.
Yes, okay.
I think I'll definitely do that. My question concerning growth,
Mhm.
because growth is a big thing for me. I have seen that while growth is growing around, particularly in Roseland and Shandon,
Right.
but beyond there, kind of lackluster regarding around the fairgrounds, regarding
Mhm.
the debacle with Capital City Stadium.
Yeah.
Has the county council been bouncing ideas to try and move that along
Right.
with the city to get that pushed through? Because it's been 20 years
Yeah.
and it's about time for something to be done.
I really didn't think I would have that much to talk about today. I was like, nobody really wants to hear me talk, but I could talk forever, probably. So what you're kind of referring to is when projects like that come to the county, they've already been vetted a great deal by the city. There have been plans that have been approved. They're pretty far down the road. And then a lot of times what they're doing is coming to the county for economic development. And really what that means is that they're coming to us for a tax break, right? So they're saying, we're gonna take this, this ball field and that has not had any property tax coming in off of it. It's unused, it's public, it's owned by the city, right? So they're not paying taxes on it. And in exchange for us putting this back on the tax rolls, would you give us a break on our taxes for a certain period of time? And so what I anticipate is once the city works that out, that they will come to us for some kind of tax break. I've kind of heard what it might be. I've talked to some folks about tentative plans. I think they got pretty far with one developer and then they kind of dropped it. So I don't know all the inside baseball about what happened with the city so far, but I'm trying to pay attention. But again, I don't have a whole lot of say in it until it starts to come to us for economic development. And then the other thing about development, just housing-wise and density-wise, a lot of what I see and a lot of what I hear when I knock on doors is about how Columbia, downtown Columbia particularly, you know, if you talk to the folks in Blythewood and probably Ballantyne and Irmo and Chapin, that's going to be a different kind of development, right? People want to build houses out there. They're, you know, kind of building for a different reason. A lot of what gets built downtown is for the purpose of the university. It's for the purpose of housing students because the university does not build student housing. They rely on private developers to build the student housing. They a lot of times rely on us to give them a tax break for the student housing. And then they go and build what, you know, I went to college a long time ago and I lived in a dorm and we sort of lived like, it was kind of democratic, like small d democratic, because all the rich kids, all the poor kids, whoever, we all lived in the dorms together. And we all were like strapped for cash and we all had the same amenities. We all kind of went on the shitty Stairmaster in the shitty, you know, in the shitty gym. And now it is like, you know, the amenities are just astronomical. And of course, like who's paying, like that's, who's paying for that? So there's really a kind of imbalance in what is going on here. We're building these like luxurious housing for students, charging them $1,000 a bed or more. I'm seeing some nods. Is it more?
Oh, yeah, 1,000 is like the lower end.
The 1,000 is the lower end right now.
Yeah,
Okay.
It's definitely
All the
up there.
houses in my friend's neighborhood got bought up and they're charging $1,400 a room.
Yeah. So,
Not including
and then
utilities.
how are the students paying for that? I mean, they're going into debt, right? Or their
paying
parents are
rent.
going into debt, or you know, something like that. So we have a real imbalance going on. And then in neighborhoods like MLK Park, you know, you'll see, well, in other neighborhoods as well, you'll see the parents of some students, you know, from New Jersey or wherever, coming in, buying up a house for the kid, putting it in an 18-year-old's name, and then renting out the extra bedrooms to their friends. And so then you have, the character of the neighborhood starts to shift, right? It becomes a little more maybe transient, right? It becomes less available for working people, like adults, for families, for older people. So I'm really starting to see the shift, and I'm thinking about that and figuring out where I can fit in where the county is concerned. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
And we're a little low on time, so we the last question might be
Okay.
selfish. Obviously, you're an incumbent in this race. We don't get a lot of those here. How does that change your campaigning as a candidate?
Mm-hmm. So the nice thing about my campaign was that when I got started, I already had some money in the bank. So I didn't have to raise my filing fee. I already had yard signs in the garage. All I had to do was pull them out. I already had some, just some collateral, right? Some pictures and some stuff like that I could use. I already had some accomplishments that I could put on my palm cards. And I already had a lot of contacts. So I could call all the neighborhood presidents. I'd been going to all those neighborhood meetings like for the whole time. I could call donors, right? And where maybe they were only gonna give me $100 or $50 or something like that before, they're writing me checks for $250. So it's easier for me to raise money. I already had some materials, just some infrastructure going on. I already had a website. It wasn't great, but I had one. I was already familiar with Act Blue. And because I'd been working on campaigns and I'd already been working in organizing for such a long time, I have a high level of familiarity with Van and Vote Builder. And so I could just kind of hit the ground running when it came to a lot of that stuff. So highly recommend that you work on campaigns. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Okay, thanks.
Thank you so much, Allison. Lawrence, if you're ready to come up and speak to us? All right, we're gonna give Lawrence 10 minutes to speak to us about what he's running for, what you need from us, and some core values of your campaign. And then we'll give a couple minutes for questions, and then we will move on to our next agenda item.
Well, it's a pleasure to be in front of y'all. My name is Lawrence Moore. I'm running for House District 52. House District 52 is basically Lower Richland. It's north of Air Base Road, north of Gardens Ferry Highway, all the way down to 601. If you go get to 601, then you go north on 601 into Kershaw, which include Elgin and Lugoff Elgin. So that's the district. And, basically it's a rural area. And it's important that, everybody get representation. And one of the things that I'm focusing on is listening to the residents of District 52 to find out exactly what they're interested in us pursuing. Because, like I said, most of these journeys may take more than one term in office or 1 year. So you try to start programs that, that can go forward and include, the community. One of the things I also talk about a lot is making sure that 52 get as much of that $15 billion budget that the state government, this past year had, and going forward, it's probably gonna be more. But it's important that we have somebody at the State House advocating with knowledge of what the constituency want and to get things done. Because it's gonna take more than just me down there saying I want this, I want that. It's gonna take you as a community to say this is what we need, this is why we need it. So I'm excited about that. This type of work I've been doing. I've been an activist most of my life. I think the first time I registered people to vote was I was like 17, 18 years old. I'm still in high school. Been doing that ever since. Been out today putting up yard signs and went to a community meeting. So I love interacting with people, and I love gathering information for people. And then the other thing, after you gather the information, you got to have the skills and to manipulate the situation to get what you want. So it's so important that everybody in their own communities take an active role in this, because it makes no sense to come back fussing about something that you didn't even have an opinion on 2 weeks ago. So make sure you stay abreast of all the issues. Make sure you know what's best for your community, and the best way to do that is keep asking people. You can ask 25 people and 15 want this and 10 want that. Then you try to figure out, is there any way we can work together to make things happen? But it's so important in this day and time that we work with everybody. personally, I'm a graduate of the University of South Carolina. I'm a Gamecock. There you go, tell 'em. And you know, and I graduated from high school up in Lancaster. I moved down here to go to college and met my wife, and she kept me down here. And that usually worked for me. You know, we don't get to make that decision. Not a lot of times anyway. So, but you know, from that, I've been working in the community. I've been working in labor movement. I'm presently now the president of Alliance for Retired Americans, which is statewide. We got like 30,000 people that's retired and they had been affiliated with a union. That's a lot of them people from Ohio moving down here, in New York, New Jersey, and places like that. And we got some people, homegrown union people in South Carolina. So along with them, I want to recruit y'all to get involved. Because like I say, reason why we're in the predicament we are now, because the wrong people are making the decisions for us. We got to get the right people in the right places to make good decisions to further our, our communities. And I'm excited about being in front of this group because nothing changed unless young people are involved. You know, I done lived through this stuff. I know change happened when the middle school kids and those high school kids down in Birmingham, Alabama, put their life on the line the dogs and the water hose and all that kind of stuff. So we got it easy. All we got to do is do a post and then go do some of that walking and stuff. But it's so important that you take the initiative if you want to have a democracy. Now, if you don't want a democracy, you want some fascists running everything, telling you when to breathe and when not to breathe. Don't care about you if you have health care and I have health care. It's on us. Because, you know, you can't expect people to care about you as much as you care about yourself. So I'm encouraging everybody to get involved. It's crucial in the history of this country right now. Just like people have to go through things, right now, we got to go through things. This is like the 60s or even the 40s or the 20s. You have cycles where democracy is necessary for everybody to stand up strong and to make sure you let people know that we prefer a democracy. Other things that, you know, that I'm avid about is making sure all of us got health care. It makes no sense for us to not be responsible to everybody knowing that it's going to cost us anyway. I mean, you know, they go to the hospital, they might be a little bit further along with their illness or their condition, but they're going to go to the hospital before they die. And we're going to pay for that. But if we set up a system that everybody is included, including those people I've been seeing on the street now, those seniors that after a certain age and all their family die off, they're homeless. They don't have health care. But that's on us. Because if we got a community that really care about each other, we would send legislators down there that would vote on things that's going to improve those people's lives. And it improves our lives because all the confusion is down. All this disease in our community is out. You know, back during the pandemic, I worked with DHEC to bring vaccinations for thousands of people. And you know the reason why they got us? Because to do outreach. We didn't have, a lot of the people I served didn't have the money to drive around USC football stadium to get a shot. Or go out to Lexington Medical Center where I got mine at. Some of these people was in Gaskin, Eastover. Some of them was down in Low Country. We had St. George and places like that. We need to stay connected. Nowadays, it's so important that everybody get out of those rooms and open the doors, stay off of those computers all the time. I like computers too, so I ain't gonna talk to them. they have to tell me, Lord, put your phone up. You know, and that's eating dinner. My wife was real bad about that. Put the phone up. You know, but it's important that we communicate with each other, we connect with each other, because you know, like as time passes on, it's gonna get less. But you know, with technology, we can go in our little corners and not do this and not do that. We need to cut that out. We need to live and think about each other's, and also do things to benefit each other. One of the main reasons, Jessica, when she told me about this event, I was excited about it. Because I knew I have a room full of young people, and I need y'all. Saturday, we're going to be canvassing, and I need help. because I've been canvassing some today, and I've been putting out some yard signs. I apologize about my dress. But for this to happen, if you don't canvass for me, canvass for somebody else. It's so important we get engaged. Because you know the reason why we got people thinking they can take our tax dollars and do whatever, you know, paint the bottom of a pool and spend hundreds and hundreds of millions of dollars to do silly things, it's because we didn't elect the right person. That's as simple as that. If you get the people in power that respect you and work with you to make things better, all of us will be okay. But if you get somebody in power that's looking out for personal interests or personal gain, we got a problem. Did I miss anything? Do anybody have any questions they have for me? Yes, ma'am. Thank you.
You did mention technology that you feel is an obstacle for a lot of people to get involved while making us connected. We are a little bit more disconnected because of it. Do you feel that that's the biggest thing keeping young people from getting involved, or what do you feel personally is the biggest obstacle for young people to like stepping into activism, outreach, things like that?
Well, leadership. Now, people, AI and all that stuff. We need to use all that stuff to our benefit, you know, and then we need to manipulate it so it don't leave anybody behind. You know, because you get a situation where some people are gonna lose their jobs because of AI. We got to find a place for those same people in our economy. We got to build an economy that fits, that everybody is a part of, and that's decision making. You know, God gave everybody in here the ability to make a decision, and if we don't make the right decision, you pay the price. So it's about us making good decisions. And and what I talked about leadership, our older generation should make sure they encompass the young people in everything they do. If they want their policies, their thoughts, and their stuff to go forward, incorporate the people that's gonna live longer. Incorporate the people that's gonna have to pay the bill. So make sure that you insist. If they ain't coming to you to say, I need your help, insist on it. And insist on you having your opinion about things. Now, you know, a lot of times they might not be right, but you got to have an opinion. And be grown. Grown people have opinions. And yes.
Lawrence, what do you think is the biggest challenge facing Lower Richland? Because your district not only involves Lower Richland, most of Hopkins and East Upper, but also kind of does encroach into like Lugoff and Elgin now.
Right.
However, the city of Columbia is if not the city itself, especially the urban footprint, is about to start encroaching an entire area. So I was wondering, what do you think is the largest?
Well, you know, like I say, the biggest problem we got in South Carolina is leadership. And that's from top all the way down. Leadership is holding us up. People that's not concerned about your well-being. People that's not working for your well-being is our biggest problem. Now, besides that, we got road problems, we got school problems, we got people with not access to health care. But, you know, that's because we ain't been working on it. It ain't like we can't do it. It's because we got different things that we value. And some of the people that we put in leadership value different things than what we need as a community. So that's the problem, is leadership and then inclusion with planning and policy by everybody involved.
So this might have some overlap with what you just said, but you mentioned that you've been asking the people of District 52 what their issue is. What's their issue? Like,
Yeah.
what do they say?
Well, you know, what I've been hearing is, you know, just what I just said. You people concerned about, you know, people doing things without asking them. I mean, every person I came in contact with is upset about redistricting. That might be the people I hang out with, you know, there might be some people not. Might be a handful of them that say that's a good thing to do. Spend $2.5 million to do something they just did in June 9th. They're gonna do it again in August the 18th with our money, didn't ask us a thing. So people are upset about that. The other thing is the crowding, the roads. Jermaine, the last representative down there, he was able to get emergency rooms. I think University of South Carolina Medical School opening up a facility. So, you know, people used to die with a stroke. With that facility there, they would cut that mileage down. You know, you ain't got to go 30 miles, you got to go 15 miles now. You know, so you might make it to the hospital. That's something we could have done 25, 30 years ago if we wanted to. That's the problem we have. We got to have the will and we got to have the leadership. The schools. I've been complaining about schools because of my group, Carolina for All. Parents come to me and say, well, just this and this. Biggest problem I've seen with schools from that perspective is they put kids in classes, evaluate them, and then they won't put them where they actually need to be. I had a boy in first grade, should have been in second grade because of the way he scored on the test. So he wasted a year of his life walking around helping the teacher teach everybody else. You know, all the school district had to do. And the things that people told me from the school district is, put them in private school and let them elevate that way. Now, who got money to pay whatever they charge? Now, I know when I paid my son private school about 25, 30 years ago, it was, you know, it was reasonable. You know, nowadays it ain't reasonable. You know, I think it's thousands of dollars. And that's why we separate ourselves. You got rich people doing one thing for their kids, and you got the rest of us scrambling to do whatever we can. But them rich people take our tax dollars too, and they do what they want with it. So we need to make sure that we get what we pay for. And the only way that's gonna happen is we demand it. Because people don't come around and say, "Helen Lawrence, take go $50. That don't happen. You know, $100 or $10. You demand what you want, and you got to advocate for it. You know, and you got to make sure you don't leave it just hanging. You know, you got to say this is what we need. If it take 10 years, if it take 20 years. You know, people have been struggling ever since there's been people. So, you know, things don't necessarily come easy all the time, but you know what you need and why you need it, and that's why you got to advocate for it. And I'm the person that I love going out front talking a bunch of noise. You know, but don't worry, I'll get behind y'all when it's time. You know, but so yes, you.
What do you have going on tomorrow then?
Oh yeah, thank you for reminding me. So everybody, if you like barbecue, I got one of the best places in town. Big T's Barbecue is going to be hosting an event for us. We're going to have Senator Maggie Glover, former Senator Maggie Glover from Florence. She's a friend of mine. She was the first black woman elected as a state senator in the state. And also she was the first black woman from Florence to serve on school boards and on the House of Representatives there. But her and some others will be there. I'll be there taking questions, trying to make sure everybody have an understanding of who I am and what I'm about. So I welcome y'all to come out. It's free. If you got, you know, well, nowadays the gas is
What time is that?
6 o'clock.
6 o'clock.
Yeah. Tomorrow at Big T's. Mr. Brown hosting a meet and greet for the community. Awesome. Yep. Any more questions? Cause you know I'm like I can talk forever. I can talk all day. You have to sit me down.
I think we're about at for time, but thank you so
God,
much.
dog.
I know.
And please get my literature if you want yard signs. I think we still have some. So yeah, if you live in don't take them unless you live in District 52 or close to it. Cause those things cost money too. Thank you.
All right. That was great. Real quick, the next thing we have on the schedule is Nicole Sanchez. She is going to give us a quick lesson on lobbying and the importance of that. Before Nicole comes up and does that, because I know we have candidates in the room, can you just stand, give us your name and what you're running for real loud so the mic can pick it up? Start here.
Reed Beeman, run for District 87 in Lexington.
Yay.
Jeremy Jones, running for State House District 88.
Would you like stand up?
Zion Khalifa running for a 2nd Congressional District.
Excellent. Okay, is there anybody else? Miss Allison has already spoken to us, but Allison is also here. And I think that covers it. So we're gonna have Nicole give a little lesson to us about lobbying, and then we are gonna go over some incredibly important dates. So stick with us.
Thank you, Nicole. Thank you. All right, hi there, friends. So first thing, looks like this table did it right. There are piles of papers at the end. Please pass them forward. They should be at the end of each table, but I think Reed bogarted all the papers. So essentially, what you have before you, so first of all, I was gonna print off a new updated one that had the proper organization that is, doing tonight instead of the former organization that I did, because these were leftover papers, but I couldn't get the printer to work, so that, ignore that the third QR code. The rest of them are great, although unless you wanna get involved. But they had nothing to do with tonight's, educational effort or meeting. That being said, I am here to talk to you today about testifying to official bodies, whether that is the State House, whether that is County Council, City Council. You'll notice the first QR code listed there is to download the State Legislature app. Who has it? All right, all of those hands should be raised because it is super useful. The next one is more pertinent if you are actually a resident of Columbia. That takes you to Columbia's meeting schedule, so that if you want to, you can speak to them. So, the paper in front of you, I don't have time to go over all of it, but I think it's fairly self-explanatory. This is for essentially testifying in good faith. The idea here is that the people you are talking to are listening to you and taking that information and processing all of it, and then, in theory, properly representing the people who are speaking. That is not, unfortunately, always the case, but that is the purpose of those. And actually, could you pass me one, please? Thank you. There are plenty. I printed off a lot of them. So I will just very quickly go over the basics of this, which is you want to prepare, you want to know the rules of how long it is that you are given to speak, and you want to know who your audience is. And we'll get more into audience in a second. You also want to craft your argument, and that's based on who you're actually talking to. And then you want to deliver. You want to talk like you're a person. You don't want us to come off like a textbook. And so I should have really started here, so I apologize with this. But why do we testify? Does anybody have an answer?
To sway.
Yeah. This is public comments. We are talking about public comments. Redistricting is a huge thing right now. Who here has seen anybody's testimony online about redistricting over the last week? Excellent, yes. All of those people stepped up and said their piece. Those public comments, including written testimony, go into the public record. So even if they don't listen to you in good faith, like we hope they will, that information is still in there when people look back, when there are, I don't know, lawsuits filed because we're changing the primary date like 5 days before early voting starts. All of that information is in there. And so it isn't just the people who you're speaking to on that dais. It's also for the public. So everybody that to make change, there are all different kinds of people who are necessary. Public testimony is part of that equation. There are also people, just straight up starting off with, who thinks that they would be comfortable doing public testimony? Oh, that's a lot of hands. Good for you guys. The number is normally smaller than that. I'm just gonna throw that out there. Who here is comfortable making a social media video? Less hands. Okay, also surprising, but okay. So normally, that's kind of reversed, but that's okay, because all of those kinds of things are necessary, because, that person who's, driving in their car and just ranting about redistricting or abortion
or the environment or any of those things that we can very calmly give testimony on are also necessary. But public testimony is part of that equation as well. They serve different purposes. This is designed to sway the people in front of you. And also to create lots of social media clips that we can share out, as you all know. So some of those testimonies that you have seen over this time are angry. Some of them are full of facts. Some of them are deeply personal stories. Like we heard from multiple candidates over this redistricting debacle because it directly affects them. Like we heard from congressional people. Like Zion, for instance, I know he was in the room and wanted to testify and was unable to because they cut off testimony. But you got that written testimony in, right? Excellent, excellent. So, on the back you will see that there are basic do's and don'ts. One of the things, again, this is assuming a good faith effort is, or a good faith audience, which is the people on the dais, are actually listening to you and have not changed their minds prematurely, or they're swayable. That's a better way of saying it. You're assuming that we're talking to people who are swayable. And as some members of the Senate in the redistricting issue defected, essentially did not vote for it, they shot it down, you can see there are people who are swayable. And testimony can help us do that. So just some general thoughts. You don't want to be hysterical. If you actually want to convince people, your argument needs to evoke emotions, but not be
Overly emotional.
yes. Like, especially for women, sorry guys, sorry gals, but we have that double standard. Men are passionate and we're hysterical. So you definitely need to make sure that your testimony reflects that. But sometimes we do have very deeply personal stories that truly impact these, impact our testimony and impact this policy, because as our previous speaker mentioned, the people you vote for directly impact that policy. Our elected officials are that's what they do. They enact policy. And if we are not able to sway them, well, then we need to vote them out, first of all. But we want to be able to craft an argument that convinces them. And sometimes that's knowing information about them. Sometimes that's knowing what issues really matter to them. And sometimes that's just being your authentic self and telling a real story, but maybe a little tamped down so you're not crazy. Because crazy doesn't help. I'm sorry. It just doesn't. Although crazy can help on social media. Everybody say everything serves its purpose. Okay. So I have covered lots and lots of things, and there may be more things that I will want to say, but I'm curious how we're feeling. Do we have questions?
Yeah, I know it says on the front of the sheet, like, when can you sign up to speak, time limits, stuff like that.
Mhm.
Are there, like, general rules for that? I'm not super familiar with how you sign up for that kind of thing.
So each body has its own rules.
Gotcha.
And you can generally find those rules online. For instance, I don't know what county council's rules are in Richland. Do you know them off the top of your head?
Yeah. I can talk for like 10 minutes about it.
Well, I mean, how do you sign up for testimony?
Oh, how do you sign up for testimony?
Yes.
You just walk in.
Oh,
Yeah.
And you sign up on the sheet?
Yeah, except for budget, and you have to email them in advance.
Okay. See, these are those little rules that we need to know. Generally speaking, you go and you sign up before the meeting, generally speaking, and then they give you like 2 to 3 minutes. I testified in an education subcommittee once, and they gave us a minute. That was on CRT back in 22, I think. But on redistricting, they gave us like 3 minutes. So it varies, but usually you're capped at like 3. And all of that stuff can be found generally online, but if you get there before the meeting, unless there are different things like budget, then you're good to go. And you can always submit written testimony ahead of time, and all of that information can be found online.
Do we know for sure if they actually look at submitted written testimony?
I mean, there's no guarantee, but even if they don't look at it, like I said before, like that is in the public record, and if there's some kind of lawsuit related to it, that can be pulled out and brought forward in a court case.
Hypothetically, would you advise all current or future candidates to consider submitting at least written testimony so that it is on the record?
Yeah. Well, like, so to me, that's one of those things that it's showing you doing the work. Like, if you are running for State House, go and be part of the process. Understand the process ahead of time. And also then have your opinion out there, because that's, in theory, what you're running on. The same is true for county council at the county level, and then town as well. I've testified before the town of Irmo, big city there. But the testimony is still important, and they take all of that into consideration.
I'm curious, only because, like, how long does that, like, stay, or it just forever stays on there, or?
What do you mean?
Do they just, when they put the testimony in, does it stay on record, like, forever, or just, is there like a?
There is, I don't know the specific rules of that, but probably for a very long time. Because all that stuff should also be FOIA-able. And like, there are all kinds of laws around public documents, and by submitting testimony, that is a public document.
I work with I'm of the university, and I work with students with disabilities, and I'm thinking, what alternatives are there? So if I have a student who is very passionate about something, but writing is, a weakness for them, can they submit a video? Can they submit an alternative to make this more accessible?
Not that I'm aware of.
How do we change that to make it more, because right now your options are written testimony or show up.
Yes.
Well, if you're working, you can't do that. If you are a student who has Down syndrome, and so writing is not, but you are very passionate about something, or even just a student who has dyslexia, and so writing is not their strong suit, how do they get to voice their opinion?
So I don't think that, as far as I know, there is nothing written. However, if you email that in, it would still be accessible. I'm not sure exactly how it would be accessible, because you can't print off a video, but I imagine they store all of those virtually. And on top of that, and again, this doesn't help necessarily with the accessibility thing, but let's say you had a group of them who were like, we really want to talk on this. You can all submit them, and then you can go to the State House and say, hey, you should definitely check your emails. I have a group of constituents who are unable to give written testimony, but we have recorded videos and we emailed them to the email address that you specified. And by making them aware of that, in my experience, even the groups that cannot necessarily be moved, they will acknowledge that and say, we're going to look into that, or pull you aside afterwards and be like, hold on, tell me how I can get to this. Like, there are some representatives who are entirely intransient, but even during these redistricting hearings, we were being listened to. During the closed primary debates, March, February, testimony that I gave, the chairman of the Constitutional Laws Subcommittee pointed my point out as something that they need to look at in the future. Like, that's very gratifying. It's like, oh man, he is listening. And they ended up striking that down, so that was good. Or at least not pursuing it this year. Which is a good thing. Had a thought, lost it. Anybody else?
Can I make a recommendation about testifying?
Yeah.
So I went and gave testimony last week at the State House about when voting rights stuff first happened. I can tell you that the people on the subcommittee, the only way to get them to listen is that you do not read off paper. You actually speak from the heart because they have no idea what you're going to say, so they will not look at their phones.
Yeah.
Make them look you in the eye. I made them look me in the eye. And that's what we have to do. We have to make them look us in the eye and make them unaware of what we're going to say. Let it come from the heart. Because I know Mark Curious did the same thing, and they looked him in the eye the entire time.
I mean, I like that. It doesn't always work.
I know it doesn't always work. It worked on the ones that bad.
Yes, which is good, which is good. As an example, Dylan Gunnels, who used to be the president, okay, of YDCM, his testimony, he gave his regular testimony and then stopped and basically was like, all right, I hope my org doesn't come back at me, but this is my testimony. This is Dylan Gunnels. It is not associated with Be the Ones. And then he very much spoke from the heart. And during a particularly salient point of his testimony, he looked them in the eye, and they looked down. Shame? I don't know. But they wouldn't look. So the redistricting thing is also very difficult. It's, to me, similar to the abortion debate. Like, they've made their decisions. For better or worse, we're stuck with what's going on with that. But there are a lot of other issues that are not nearly as partisan, that public testimony truly sways people. And when I say that the testimony didn't sway them, that doesn't mean you don't give it. Like I said, like, these can be used in the future. These can be used to move conversations forward. Like, public testimony is incredibly powerful in the room and outside of the room. And before I take any more questions, one of the things that I want to point out is on the back under a winning strategy, it says coordinate with others. Let's say the people in this room decide that they want to testify about a particular issue. Great. Have conversations about, like, what can I bring to this conversation? And what can this person bring to the conversation? So that you're not all saying the same thing, and so that your testimony covers as many bases as possible, and you are presenting a united front. And you don't just have to do it with the people in this room. There are organizations, also on the bottom, that are great organizations who are also interested in pushing these ideas forward. If it is in their wheelhouse, talk to them and see what they think will help move the needle. Because most of us are not inside the room. We don't have lobbyists. Other organizations do, and we want to know as much as we can so that we can support them. Mercurius.
I was just going to say with like the coordinating part, like on my testimony, one of the things I did was Matt Butler had already said what I was going to say word for word, and being one of those people that used to be in that back room, I switched switched up my testimony, and that is with that coordination allows you to do that. Because like you can trust other people to do something. So at that moment, I got to be pissed off because like most of the time I don't go in that room pissed off because I'm usually used to be the person in the middle that was taking all the notes and looking at those things. And so you really do want to coordinate because some people are going to want to be that emotional person and yell and scream, and you lose so much of that. But like people online need to see that. So I got to switch my testimony up, and I had people across the state telling me they got invigorated from watching it. And so I got to change my message because I saw another teammate that I'm working with do something that I could play off of.
I also want to add that while both Mercurius and Reed in this particular situation, both were able to channel their emotions and give moving testimony. But it was still within decorum and respectful. And that is important because there are certain times where creating an uproar and getting kicked out is helpful, but like you will never see me doing that because I'm the leader of an organization. And as a leader of an organization, that's not my wheelhouse. It might be somebody else's wheelhouse though. And we need all of the things. Civil disobedience is useful. We need all of the things to move issues forward.
I was gonna ask, do you have an example of a time where you felt personally that public testimony that you gave was effective in swaying somebody or in like reaching the people that you were speaking to?
Town of Irmo. It's no surprise that the people who are closest to us, the local governments, are going to be more responsive to public testimony. This was, honestly, it's been several times, over development, over education, over where funding should go. Like, they're my neighbors. I know where some of them live, you know? Like, and also those are non-political issues, so that helps a lot. At the State House, the closest I've come is that closed primary thing that I mentioned earlier. They were already, it seemed, in putting the brakes on it already, and it kind of felt like our testimony just allowed them to put the brakes on it. So that's another thing, like when you know what's going on behind the scenes, sometimes leadership has to raise up a bill. And sometimes they're looking for an excuse to kill it. You might be the one to give them that excuse.
I think we're about at time. Do you feel good?
Yeah. Yeah. And I'll be here a little later too. Thank you.
Thank you, Nicole, for that. I think that was incredibly informative. I've not spoken too many times to large groups of people besides the lovely people that we have at these meetings. So, scary thing, that it freaks me out a little bit, but I think it's necessary. Obviously, like Nicole said, it's necessary for us to get up and do stuff like that. 911. Okay, so I'm gonna cover a couple of announcements, just general stuff that we have done recently that I think if you don't know about it already, you should. Two members of our leadership team, Carmen and Haley, worked on interviews with candidates for superintendent of education. So both Sylvia Wright and Lisa Ellison have like an hour and a half long video on our YouTube page. There are a ton of questions, and if you are undecided about who to vote for, I think that will help you out. There is also, I believe, tomorrow another forum with them through SEA, so if you want to view that live.
It's going on right now.
Oh, maybe it's happening right now. Either way, that is something that you can look into. That is available on our YouTube, and it's definitely all over all of our social media. Okay, I'm gonna review a couple upcoming important dates, and then I will let you guys scoot. Yes, would you like to come up and give your important announcement? Sweet.
Okay, I have something really exciting to tell you guys about. As a whole, YDCM, we're going to be throwing a forum at Allen University for the Senate candidates, the Democratic Senate candidates. So we are not 100% certain on Amy Andrews' attendance, but it's looking like she's going to be there. Kyle's already confirmed. Brandon Brown is already confirmed. We're going to have a whole bunch of different organizations there. So RCDP, LCDP, Food Not Bombs, Be the Ones if we get a confirmation on that, NAACP, Oh yeah, the media is also going to be there. We do need some help organizing everything though. We're going to need someone manning the welcome table for all the registers. We need someone who's going to like point people in the directions. And we also just need people to come and enjoy the event and have a good time. So please bring one person, each of you guys. I'll see every single one of you guys there. It's going to be at 6 o'clock. No, 5 o'clock on next Thursday. Next Wednesday. Next Wednesday.
Close enough.
So that information will be up and about and available on our social media very, very soon. And again, that is next Wednesday, May 20th. We are going to have a reception or a follow-up reception and the forum. So that'll be in all likelihood from like 5:30 to 8 o'clock. There will be parking at Allen University. If you know of an organization that you think should be there to table and you have not already been asked, please contact me. Also, if you would like to volunteer, we need volunteers. So I'll say that. Okay, important dates. Tomorrow night, featuring one of our candidates in the room, there will be a meet and greet. Would you like to come up and speak a little bit about that or not really? Okay, I'll give you a minute. Oh, excuse me, we can't formally endorse, but somebody who has spoken to us a good bit.
Hello, hello. I will be here tomorrow at 6, doing a meet and greet. If you want to come volunteer to help as far as coordinate, I know I have a good bit of RSVP. So if you are planning on coming, RSVPing would be helpful because we're providing food, and so the numbers, knowing how many people will be here is very helpful. Yeah, I wasn't coming here to campaign today, so I'll just so yep.
Thank you for coming up. All right. There will also be a Congressional District 2 candidate forum on the 15th at 6:30. I believe that's virtual, but I could be wrong about that.
Yeah, virtual.
Virtual. We're involved in that. I don't know why I'm asking. YDCM is also involved in that. So keep an eye out. I know that will, if it hasn't already, be shared on social media. Everything we mention right now will be dropped in our chat. I know Zion's meet and greet has already been included in that, so look for that information. We will attempt to reshare tonight so everybody has the information available. Richland County is having their first breakfast meeting in a long while. That will be this Saturday, the 16th, from 9 to 11 a.m. So if you have some available time and you would like to do that, that's a great thing to do. Obviously, our Senate forum and or reception situation, that is on the 20th. And then there is also a statewide Democratic candidate forum happening on the 21st. And then as per usual, the Clyburn Fish Fry is on the 29th and the SCDP convention is on the 30th. So we have an incredibly busy month. We have been incredibly busy for the past couple of weeks. I think the only thing that I have not touched on tonight is redistricting, and a couple other people have brought that up. I will say, and let me grab my phone, tomorrow, there is a rally at the State House to protest, I believe, Mr. Lindsey Graham's attempt to push through the redistricting yet again. So if you're not aware of that, that will be, I believe Nicole actually shared that in our main chat earlier today.
It's outside McMaster's office because
McMaster.
we're hoping he does not call a special session.
Perfect. Okay. Outside of McMaster's office tomorrow. Starts, I believe, you need to be there at 2 o'clock, but it starts around 2:30. I think so. We will also reshare that in the chat. For our new people in the room, because I see a few, I'm making eye contact with you, not awkwardly. if you would like to join, we have a Signal chat, and that's where a lot of our information gets shared outside of social media, and we also just chit chat about stuff in there. So please join that, and we also have a Google Calendar that we're trying to keep updated with all the crazy events we have going on. So if you'd like to be involved in that, please do that as well.
After being taken off, I still don't get anything.
Well, you were added back on again, both of you.
Yeah, but I still don't get anything.
I don't know what to tell you. We'll figure that out. The only thing that I'm going to say and ask, our leadership team has been trying incredibly hard to be active on social media and otherwise. If you are not following us on social media, please follow us on social media. Facebook and Instagram is where we are most active right now, and it would be incredibly helpful if you guys can look that up every once in a while. Just give us a look, maybe throw us a like or a comment. That would be great. But anyway, I think that's it. Would you like to add something?
Yeah.
I don't know. Can you come up here?
Yeah, can I?
Maybe.
May I?
I'm scared.
Okay, so I just want to do something real quick. Been a little bit of funeral dirge in terms of tone, so we're going to pep it up a little bit. We've got actually some pretty huge things that I really want to celebrate because we don't have another time to shout them out. The thing Jessica and Sophia both talked about, the candidate forum, is huge. To my knowledge, as YDCM, at least in the past several years, this is the first time we will be having that kind of like high-profile candidates come to us to do a public broadcast. These are 3 senatorial. We've never had, I don't think, that many national candidates all at once in the past several years. Austin might know an exception.
We did organize a debate between Joe Wilson and against Joe Wilson
Last year? Do we have that many?
We had one forum between David Robinson and Joe Wilson.
Who cares? This is the first time we've ever done it. It's going to be great. It's going to be huge. We're going to have media there. We're going to have a lot of people. Other organizations are chomping at the bit to come in. That's why we have so many already committed. This is going to be fantastic. So it'll be a fun time, I promise. The other thing, the Clyburn Fish Fry on the 29th. If you haven't done it before, it is a lot of fun. If you like fried fish, it's really good. You get to have some free fried fish. There is dancing. I was terrible last year when I tried, so I won't be doing it again. But pretty much every local candidate you could want to meet, any statewide candidate you want to meet, they're going to be there. It's really sick. That's how I got to meet most people that I got to meet. So really, really, really highly recommend it. It's going to be a great time. We also do have our chair in the room planning a lot of other fun stuff for I can't remember what your position is titled right now. Membership chair. We're planning a bunch of fun events too, so I know we have some new people. I promise it is not always doom and gloom and business. There are sometimes things you might enjoy coming to rather than feel a civic duty and responsibility, which you all have. So Christine will be giving Sue in the chat more information on upcoming events. So will Josie, although much less important. All right, that's all I had.
We're doing like quick announcements, right?
Is this a finance update? Because we do not need a finance update right now.
No, it's regarding the fact that he skipped like 1 or 2 things, though.
Oh, it's just fun.
Yes, Nicole? What's that?
I just wanted to say, it isn't always doom and gloom, because even after our testimony and being frustrated and doom and gloomy, a group of us went out to eat and commiserated and talked about things that weren't just politics.
We love that.
Like this can all be community building even in the tough times.
Amen.
And you know what that sounds like? A beautiful day in South Carolina.
Okay, here's what we're gonna do. Tim has 1 minute to speak. Austin will have 1 minute to speak, and then we are cutting this off.
All right, so I'm gonna do this real quick. Number 1, Wes skipped over a very important thing. The Blue Palmetto dinner will be around that. So if you got the bread to go ahead and get that ticket. I know Jeremy, $127. If you are,
Table?
If we can get 8 more people to get it, yeah. But if not, that's 127. You're already delegate 147. If not, 124.
Because it's 127
Hey, that works for me though, because I'm a delegate. Hey.
Hey, guess who didn't know the answer to that question during her testimony?
Pamela Evan.
Damn.
She was like 140.
the
That's my queen.
I am about the.
Yeah,
thing
I
else.
was about to say myself.
Oh no, this is the other thing I'm doing down the road.
That's the other thing you're doing?
Yeah. The only other thing is I have an update regarding a small non-finance update. I'll do that nonsense later. But no, as you know, the state fair is not that far away, and I have been trying to get a table for it. I got the details for it finally, and it will be a statewide fair to get the funds because it is a $1,600 table. But it gives us a foothold on the biggest party night in the state. So, yeah, this will be all hands all day, and I will be asking for money.
That sounds like a fantastic thing to fundraise around and to teach everybody in the room how to work their networks.
Oh, if it gets me the money, I will do everything I can to get that. But yes, we will do that. Deadline, August 22nd. More details to come.
Beautiful. Austin.
Hang on. August 22nd.
Furiously.
All right. All right. Hello, everyone. Just letting you guys know that on May 30th we will have the South Carolina Democratic Party convention that is going to be out. That's going to be out of the fairgrounds, next building over from the Blue Palmetto Dinner. Usually they will waive the. In recent years, they have waived the parking fee for you to go on the day of the convention. If you are a delegate or an alternate to the convention, you need to be there before 8:30, because at around 8:45 they start replacing it. They start replacing absent delegates with alternates. Crystal will open the convention at 9:30, and we'll get started. There will be a bit of business. I believe we have to formally elect a second vice chair, but I think only Hannah has filed for that. Either way, we need everyone to come out to that. Also, our next meeting will be the day after early voting starts. So no matter what happens with these congressional maps, no matter what happens with these congressional maps, the other races will still have a primary on June 9th, no matter what. And with that, early voting will start the day after Memorial Day, which will be the day before our next meeting. So once we get through Memorial Day, we will be trying to get all of you and everyone out to the polls as much as we can. So thank you.
All right. Beautiful. Does anybody else have any last minute announcements? And I am hoping to see no hands.
Here we go.
No.
Motion to approve the minutes from the.
Yes. Can we get a motion to approve?
Motion to-
Oh, beautiful. Motion by Tim and seconded by Christine. I love that. Yeah, you were fast. All right. I believe that's it. Thank you guys so much for coming. I do have a little paper agenda if you want to take that with you.
We have to actually take the vote.
For the minutes.
We did. Did we not?
No, you have to vote.
I made a motion.
There still has to be
Tim has motioned to accept the minutes.
And,
Right, you have to vote on it.
Can we get a
Just call
vote?
for a vote. Just call for a vote.
Calling for a vote to approve our minutes.
Aye.
Beautiful. Minutes approved. Thank you guys so much. Okay. If you would like a piece of paper that has all of those crazy dates that I gave, come see me. If you want to be put in the signal chat, come see me. Thank you guys so much for coming out tonight.